These are the only 3 American axe makers who still hand-forge axes. In a country that once had over 300 axe patterns in production and factories turning out thousands of heads a day, that number should stop you cold. 3. Everyone else has either closed up shop, moved manufacturing overseas, or started pouring cheap steel into molds and calling it craftsmanship. This is the story of how America almost lost the art of the hand-forged axe, and the 3 shops fighting to keep it alive. To understand what we nearly lost, you need to understand what we once had. The American axe industry traces its roots back to the first blacksmith shop at Jamestown in the early 1600s. By 1826, the Collins Company in Connecticut began producing the first ready-to-use axes in the United States. 8 men, 8 axes each per day. By 1859, Collins employed 350 people and produced 2,000 tools daily. When Samuel Collins died in 1871, that single company had produced more than 15 million axes. Collins wasn't alone. Maine became a hub for axe manufacturers, powered by water wheels on the Messalonskee Stream. By 1890, a conglomerate called American Axe and Tool controlled roughly half of all production in the country. More than 300 distinct axe designs rolled off production lines to meet the demands of American loggers. By 1900, European settlers had cleared nearly 500 million acres of forest land, and they did it with the axe. Then everything changed. World War II pulled factories away from tool-making. Many never returned. The chainsaw made the felling axe obsolete for commercial logging almost overnight. Wood heat gave way to oil and gas. The axe went from starring role to minor character in American life. In 1955, Hurricanes Connie and Diane wiped out at least a third of the Collins Company factory. After 140 years of operation, Collins closed in 1966. The machinery was sold off. The skilled workers, men who had spent their careers learning a craft that took years to master, scattered. There was no plan to preserve what they knew. No apprenticeship program. No archive of techniques. The knowledge simply walked out the door with them and retired. Collins's name eventually passed to Trooper Herramientas, which shifted manufacturing to Mexico. The most storied name in American axes was now stamped on imported steel. Up in Oakland, Maine, the last axe shop closed in the late 1960s. A town that had once housed a dozen manufacturers, including icons like Spiller Axe and Tool and Emerson and Stevens, went quiet. The water wheels on the Messalonskee Stream stopped turning. The forges went cold. Buildings that had once shaken with the rhythm of hammer strikes sat empty, then were torn down, then were forgotten entirely. Entire axe patterns, designs that American loggers had refined over generations for specific timber, specific terrain, specific cuts, ceased to exist outside of museum walls. For close to 60 years, almost nobody practiced the craft. Then, in the 1980s, the blacksmith renaissance brought men and women back to the forge. They had to relearn techniques, dig through old references, and essentially resurrect a dying art. 3 of those seeds grew into the only American shops still hand-forging axes today. The first is Hoffman Blacksmithing, out of Roan Mountain, Tennessee. Liam Hoffman started blacksmithing in the fall of 2008. He was 13 years old. His first setup was a wood fire pit and a trailer hitch for an anvil. He was not inspired by some romantic demonstration. As he puts it, he was just bored one weekend and started doing it. His parents saw something in that boredom and built him a small shop in their backyard. While other kids were doing whatever kids do after school, Liam was forging knives and learning metallurgy. He was working full-time for himself by high school. He appeared on the History Channel's Forged in Fire, forged a Cora sword, won first place, and became the youngest champion in the show's history. Today, Hoffman Blacksmithing operates from a 6,000 square foot shop. His axes are hand-forged from 4142 chrome moly alloy steel, heat-treated to 55.5 Rockwell hardness, hung on straight-grained hickory handles, each hand-fitted with a draw knife. His goal is simple: create a tool that your great-grandfather would call quality. The second maker is Brant and Cochran, based in South Portland, Maine. In 2015, Steve Ferguson wanted to buy a high-quality American-made axe for his godson, heading to forestry school. He couldn't find one, not in Maine, a state that was once the beating heart of American axe manufacturing. Steve, his brother Mark, and their partner, Barry Worthing, decided that was unacceptable. They started by gathering every blacksmith they knew in Portland. Mark tells the story best. They bought pizza, bought beer, did a big presentation. To a man, every blacksmith in the room said, "You're never going to be able to do any of that." As Mark recalls, "We just bought you beer." They did it anyway. Their first axe, the Allagash Cruiser, was based on a pattern pulled off the wall of the Patton Lumbermen's Museum in Maine. They start with US-made 1050 carbon steel, heated in a gas forge, and punch the eye with a hydraulic press. Today, 6 employees produce 1,500 axes a year. Field and Stream calls their work one of the 4 best axes in the world. Every axe carries a maker's mark. A W means head blacksmith Keegan Whitford forged it. A T means Tanner Wilcox hafted it. All their blacksmiths are under 35. The third maker is Wolf Valley Forge, tucked into the hills of North Alabama. Ike Bullington remembers the day a kind gentleman handed an old hatchet to him and his brother Lucas. He was 6 or 7 years old. With their knives and that hatchet, the boys made bows, arrows, spears, everything a young boy needs. There came a day when that tired-out hatchet couldn't tackle a 5-inch pine. As he stopped to rest, he thought about the early settlers. Today, Ike hand forges every axe from 4142 chromoly steel, with hardened poles that double as hammers, hung on American hickory. He makes 12 different axe patterns, every component American-sourced: United States steel, United States tannery, American hickory. The wait time for a custom axe is 9 to 12 months. That's not inefficiency. That's the pace of a man forging one axe at a time. Some will argue that hand forging is just marketing, that a well-made factory axe performs just as well. Honestly, there's a conversation worth having there. But here's what the skeptics miss. These 3 shops represent something larger than a production method. They represent continuity, a line stretching back to Jamestown, through the golden age of American logging, through the decline, through 60 years of silence, and out the other side. Mark Ferguson said something that sticks. People want to spend their money on something that's going to last. Something where, when they hand that money over, they're giving it to people they respect. He doesn't think that's a fad. 3 shops, 3 families, 3 forges still burning in a country that once had hundreds. That's not a revival, not yet. But it's a beginning.